Welcome, everybody. It's Tip of the Spear, episode 7. How's everybody doing? Joined again today with my compadres, Grayson, who's actually in Panama City, Florida, for a baseball tournament. Thank you for joining us, Grayson, and taking time out of your vacation. In Cole Sneed, who's in his room and his background isn't working, but he looks like his normal cranky self. Hey, can you smile, man? Smile, bro. Smile. It's free agency day. Hey, man, it's finally here. And, man, we got some stuff to talk about in terms of the Commanders finally adding some players. Boy, I was scared to death. What was it, Monday, when we weren't doing anything? And I thought, oh, God, here we go. We're losing out on certain players. And I thought to myself, it's going to be typical Commanders. We're not going to spend any money. We're not going to get any better. And woe is me. But, boy, in the last couple days, my feelings have changed considerably. So I know Cole's been tracking pretty much everybody that's been added. So I'll turn it over to Cole here. What do you think about some of the ads? Who are you most excited about, Grayson and Cole?
I'll be honest. I was really nervous when we first started. I think in our family group chat, you guys are well aware of that. Day one was really stressing me out watching all the big names kind of go until we got Owe. And I really like the Owe signing. I think he's got a lot of high upside. Plus, I think he's like 25 or 26. He's pretty young. So he's got plenty of room to grow still and get better. So I think that's a great pick, especially for Durante Jones' defense. I liked Leo Chanel as well. Did some research into him. Apparently, Kansas City fans love him. They think he's really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for us. And then the more I've thought about it, at first, like, this is the very first signing I think we had throughout free agency. Was it Amik Robinson or whatever his name is? I might have just completely said the wrong name. Is that who it was?
No,
No?
you're right. You're right.
I am okay. But yeah, like Amik Robinson from the Lions.
Yeah, from the Lions, cornerback.
I looked at his PFF grades as soon as he was picked up, and they're appalling. I'll be entirely honest. They're not good when you look at the PFF grades. But then again, on 106.7 The Fan, I think it was yesterday, they had a Lions beat reporter on talking about Amik Robinson as a player, and he just could not say anything nicer about him. It was everything about, yeah, he's undersized, he's 5'9", but he's lightning quick. He doesn't care. He thinks he's the biggest dude on the field. He'll compete with anybody out there. And they think that the Lions just kind of put him in some rough spots with all the injuries they had on defense last season, and that kind of prevented him from really excelling. So apparently he's got really high upside. I guess floor is he's just going to be corner number 3. But the more I think about him, the more I do get excited. And then today, actually, all of like an hour ago, as I'm driving home from work, we signed Okunwaro. I'm not even going to try with his first name, but the tight end from Tennessee for 3 years, $30 million. So $10 million a year. Agonko? Agonko? That's how you pronounce it? Okay, thank you. But we got him for 3 years, $30 million, and he is fantastic. I think, like, I don't think any of us said him when we were looking at tight ends. I think we said Njoku and Likely. But you just got to watch this guy's tape, man. It's fantastic. He fights for every yard. He's versatile. He's athletic. He's a little undersized at 6'3". Somebody on the radio again today was saying he's listed at 6'3". He's probably more like 6'1". So he's actually a really undersized tight end, but they say he throws his weight around and uses his body really, really well.
Yeah, that seems small for a tight end. How tall was Ertz? Wasn't Ertz like 6'5" or something like that?
I believe he was. I believe he was 6'5", but at the same time, like, he can do so much more than Ertz could do. He's a good route runner. He's great physicality after catching the football. I've heard the one thing with him that's not fantastic is his blocking, but whatever. We have John Bates, who's one of the best, if not the best, blocking tight end in the league, and we have Ben Sinnott, who, if you can't catch a ball, you can at least block. So they're both decent blocking tight ends, so I'm not too worried about that. Ben Sinnott, what?
Yeah.
He's under contract.
He stays, or we trade him maybe?
I'll be honest, I can't imagine there's much of a trade market for him. Like, if we wanted to trade him, we'd probably get a 7th in return if we're lucky.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not a whole lot of value in trading him. So maybe, just keep him, see what he can do. He's still, I think Ben Sinnott's only 24. So he's still pretty young too, can still improve. But again, he hasn't really shown us much to show that he will improve and be that guy. But for the time being, for the next 3 years at least, this guy from Tennessee is going to be a really nice fit for us.
What do you think, Grayson? Who is your What do you feel?
I mean, I think Cole kind of hit it right on the spot, talking about how every Commanders fan was really nervous at the start of free agency because you see all these guys flying off the board, literally being signed everywhere, but where, I mean, we call home. So, I mean, there are all these rumors about, that center that we were supposedly going to get from the Ravens. He didn't come to us. I mean, there's a bunch of other guys, too, that we talked about. Isaiah Likely going to the Giants, like all this stuff. I was nervous, and I was pissed off. Honestly, I was sitting on the beach going through Twitter, and everything was like free agency signed, and waiting for Commanders, like hashtag whatever, hashtag Commanders to be there. But it was never the Commanders signing; it was somebody else signing. I like all the guys that we got. The dude from the Chargers looks electric. I don't know if he probably. I think we gave him too much money. In my personal opinion, I mean, I just hope it pans out and it shows that he's worth that amount of money.
I think it's weird when you say. I think it's weird when we say too much money because they evidently this free agency, a lot of players are getting overpaid. Like Linderbaum, I think you mentioned him.
We could talk about Alec Pierce too. Is Alec Pierce? I'm sorry, he's a great player, but is he a $30 million wide receiver a year? Wide receiver? Absolutely not. And the fact that we apparently, I mean, who knows if this is true, but online they were talking about how we gave him a better offer with more money. If thank God he didn't come to us, because if we paid him over $30 million, I mean, we just paid Terry, 32 or whatever it is in his contract a year? Yeah. And Terry McLaurin is miles better than Alec Pierce. So I'm glad he didn't come here. Now, the one thing that I have been hearing about, and I think everybody knows, is the whole Brandon Ayuk stuff. So apparently he did get released today by the 49ers. And I keep seeing this wordage of prove it year. So who knows? We're not the GM. We're not on Peters. We're not talking to Brandon Ayuk or anything like that. We already know the connection between Jaden Daniels and Brandon
He's
Ayuk.
Coming here. For sure he's coming.
It's a possibility. However, it better not be over like $15 million a year. I mean,
I don't think it will be. I agree with you. I agree with what you said, Grayson. I think they're gonna have to give him a prove it year, a 1-year deal. Show us what you got. Heavily incentivized. You can make an extra $2 million if they make the playoffs or whatever. He hits a certain amount of catches.
And I mean, if say hypothetically, I know I love thinking hypotheticals, so I'm just gonna ask this question too. I was thinking about it today on the drive back from wherever we just were. And
the beach.
Yeah, well, I was on the beach and I was thinking about it too. What if, say we got Ayuk, okay? I'm not the most fond of Ayuk, but say we did on this prove-it year with like $10 million or $13 million, whatever it is for 1 year. Could we somehow work out a deal with Debo too to keep him? I mean, is that a possibility? Because if I'm a player, you might have to fact check me. I'm pretty sure Debo has not won a ring yet. And, I mean, we have a good squad coming back. We were injured last year. And if I'm a player and I see the upside in my team, I'm willing to take a pay cut. Now, I'll ask you guys that question. Is this a possibility? Am I delusional? But
what do you think, Cole?
Everything that I'm hearing about Deebo Samuel is that he's apparently going to command a pretty decent market. Again, he still hasn't been signed. It's still early into free agency, and there's still plenty of teams with money that they can throw at him. I did hear something the other day, though, that apparently there are some concerns with Debo, like the last couple weeks of the season in Washington or something. Maybe the grapes soured a little bit or something. I don't know if those are true or not, but those are just rumors. So maybe Debo's not going to come back regardless. I'm at the point now where I'm just kind of resigned to the fact that we're going to end up with Ayuk. Especially since we didn't go. I mean, we went after Dawes. We finished in second place, like we did for 6 other free agents. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with Ayuk on a prove it deal, but it doesn't necessarily excite me at all. So
I'm excited. I'm excited about Ayuk, even if they overpay a little bit for him on a 1-year deal, just because I don't know. I just feel like he's got something left in the tank. But what I really like is what you said earlier, Cole, where you said somehow get the guy from Jacksonville. Imagine Jaden Daniels with 2 of his college wide receivers. And I'm kind of over the old I kind of love where we're going with the younger players. I kind of love and let Debo walk. That's fine. He's an older guy, good guy, but he's an older player. I like this. What is it? Is it Thompson? Was that his name? The guy from Jacksonville that was
Brian Thomas.
Brian Thomas. That's it. Brian Thomas. I like that potential of having him. And I think, Cole, you mentioned it earlier, what you'd be willing to give up for that guy to come up here and be married with Ayuk and Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, so pretty much I was saying, sorry about the lag on my screen again, we're just going to have to deal with it. But
That's okay.
I was pretty much saying that I would give up probably a second-round pick for BTJ. Like, maybe not. I don't even think we have this year's second-round pick, do we? I'm
No.
not even sure. We don't.
We have a third.
Yeah. So hell, give him our second rounder next year, maybe even a little bit more if that's what it takes. But I think he was a top 15 pick 2 seasons ago. He put up 1,400 yards and I think 13 touchdowns in his very first season. Had a down year last year, but he's only been in the league for 2 years. And he's still extremely young. Again, has that connection with Jaden Daniels. And I know Jacksonville released something, I think it was last evening or something, saying, hey, we're not trading Brian Thomas Jr., but I've heard that a million times before. I think the same thing happened with Odell Beckham on the Giants. The Giants were like, oh, we're not trading Odell Beckham, and then a couple weeks later they ended up dealing him out. So just because the team says they're not going to doesn't mean they won't. But I really like Brian Thomas, and I wish if there was some kind of way we can bring him over here.
I heard they were shopping him for a 5th-round pick. Is that true?
I think last year they were, and we didn't jump on it. This year, he played pretty good at the end of the season, and
Maybe
they
it
like
was just
him.
Twitter, but
Yeah.
I heard it was like Jacksonville was looking for offers for a 5th-round pick for Brian Thomas.
Well, I
don't
think
know.
we could. I think we could get him. I think Cole's right. If you offer him a third this year and maybe a second next year, or I don't know, a fourth, or maybe throw Deron Payne at him, and you say, hey, we'll give you Deron, in a trade with a fourth or something like that. I think he's definitely available. I just get excited about that potential offense. Now, they could stink, you could get hurt the first week, and he's not signed yet, so that may not happen. But I would seriously be intrigued by that offense with this new tight end, who evidently is really like a wide receiver from what I'm hearing right now. He's got, and all these guys too are all like 4.3, 4.4 speed. So we're definitely picking up speed on all of our players, including I think that D end ran like a 4.4 or something like that as a D end coming out. So I'm excited about the potential wide receiver. I'm not sure who else.
My mistake,
Who else
by
you
the
would
way.
go for?
I'm looking online right now, and it says, quote, the best offer the Jaguars received for Brian Thomas was a conditional 5th-round pick. So that's what somebody was giving them.
Well, that seems way too
I
low.
didn't know they
If
were-
he's that
yeah,
talented a
it
player,
is. He
Who
is
would-
a very talented player. He's not
who would-
worth a 5th round.
who would take that? I mean, I wouldn't get rid of a player for a 5th-round pick, period. But so the new tight end, what is the scoop on him? I know they say he's short. He's like 6'2", but he's like 240. And I heard, was it Logan Paulson on 106.7 earlier today was saying when he mocked all the potential tight ends this season, that he ranked him the number 1 tight end out of all of them, even above Likely. So, do either one of you know anything about this guy? I mean, I know I've heard Cole say his name a couple times. I think you did too, Grayson. I mean, is it justifiable that he was better than Isaiah Likely?
Yeah, completely. I mean, he's been a starter in the league for, I think, at least 3 years now. He's been severely, not underused, but, I mean, look at where he's played. He played with the Titans. I mean, yes, they had Cam Ward for 1 year, and he actually had a decent year last year with Cam Ward. But other than that, I mean, they had nobody. What do you have? Josh Jobs and Will Levis with him throwing the football to him, which is awful. I mean, the Titans are just in a horrible place right now. And, I mean, we could look at Kyle Pitts, okay, for example. Kyle Pitts finally got a quarterback, and look what he did last year. All right, he got his quarterback, and he had a good season. However, the past other 5 years that he's been in the league, Kyle Pitts has not really produced like everybody thought he would. So this might be that opportunity where he comes in and becomes a star tight end like these people are projecting him to be. I've heard he's more like built like a wide receiver in the standard way that he's a shorter guy, but he's quicker. Blocking wise might be an issue, but I have high hopes for him, and I hope he does well because I just hope he can catch the ball. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know if they're even thinking of him, as a blocker. I think they're thinking as what Bates is our blocking tight end. He's going to be a pass catcher. And I look at him kind of like I looked at Debo, whereas Debo was kind of thicker. And I mean, I know he's not a tight end. He was a wide receiver, but he's built kind of like one. And he could be kind of doing the Debo thing while you have Bates out there blocking, But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the offense is put together this year. I'm totally excited about that.
Also, I'm going to make a point off of what Grayson just said. I don't think Atlanta thinks that Penix is the answer. And there's a reason that I think they just went out and got Tua, who's, we all know what Tua is.
When does Atlanta pick? Do we know what pick they have?
I can look it up real fast for you.
I'm just saying, Cole, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was kind of thinking about where you're going to go. But go ahead, Cole, finish.
Kyle Pitts was a great – he was sought out to be one of the best tight ends in his draft class and finally got a moderate quarterback when he dealt with Desmond Ridder and whoever else was there before. And he played with, Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix, which had a couple of good games. And, he produced last year. So I hope it's like the same scenario. He's obviously a different type of play style, Kyle Pitts is, and we never know. I think truly I should have been aware of this too. This guy Chig is a lot better than Isaiah Likely. Now, I was high on Isaiah Likely, but I think Okonkwo has a higher upside, to be honest with you, and he's more experienced.
Sorry, Cole. I mean to cut you off. Go ahead with what you were saying about
No, you're good. I just looked it up. Atlanta actually doesn't have a first-round pick this year. I totally forgot. They traded up for, I think, what was it, James Pierce is who they traded up for? Traded 2 first-rounders in the last draft, so I don't think they have a first-round pick in the next 2.
Oh, okay.
So, they're in a bit weird spot, especially quarterback-wise, because I think half the fans think that Penix might be the answer, although Penix didn't have himself a great year last year. In fact, he was okay most of the year. But I don't know. I think a team signing Tua, who is a veteran, no matter how injured or concussed or maybe poorly he's played, I think there's going to be a QB competition at the start of the year. We might see at the start of next season Tua might be the guy out of the tunnel for the first couple weeks of the season. I'm not sure.
2 lefty quarterbacks. That's an interesting thing on a football team, right? 2 quarterbacks both throw a lefty.
Yeah, there's also that aspect too. It could just be they're picking Tua up to be a backup because it would make sense because you don't have to flip the offense around from a left-hander starter, say if Penix gets hurt, to a right-handed backup. You can just stick it and kind of run the same kind of scheme without having to flip anything or stuff like that. So I guess it makes sense if they're going the route of having Tua as a backup quarterback. But I still think we're going to see a QB competition in the start of training camp down in Atlanta.
I think we've all seen what the NFC East is doing, and the Giants are doing pretty well in free agency, I think I'd say. That could
By
be
the way,
something.
Was that your girlfriend in the back? The blonde that was in your room?
That is a TV, sir.
Okay.
That's a TV behind
A blonde girl showed up in your back of your...
No. But the Giants have done well. I don't think the Cowboys have really done anything. I know didn't they put in an offer for Max Crosby, right?
I don't think they actually did that. I think they talked about it, but I think they're, like Cole was saying earlier today, we were talking, I think they're strapped.
We could talk about the Max Crosby stuff too. That's pretty crazy.
Wow.
The fact that the Raiders, he apparently didn't pass his physical. Now I don't know how the hell that works in the transactions, whatever, but apparently he couldn't touch his toes, and that was the reasoning.
I think that's on the Ravens. I think they're getting trashed because his doctor came out and said this guy will be ready. No doubt he'll be ready
I mean,
So
I think I can count on 2 fingers how many injuries he's had.
yeah.
Yeah, it's weird for me, and it's almost like the Ravens like chickened out or ducked away from the deal, because like when they traded for him, they knew he was coming off an ACL injury, and they knew he was rehabbing it and doing all that kind of stuff. So like you would expect the physical to not be fantastic, right? If he's still rehabbing and still trying to get better. I mean, there's still months until the season starts for him to rehab and do all that, and then to see that they signed Trey Hendrickson. I think just a little bit after they rescinded the trade. It's one of those things that makes you think is like, did Baltimore want Hendrickson more, and now they got him? They're like, we don't need Crosby anymore, and since there was before the league year, they're like, we're done.
Save
Like, I don't know. It's a weird little situation they got going on in Baltimore, and I don't think a whole lot of the league is very happy with them for doing what they did. But I mean, it's within the rules. I guess you're allowed to before like the deals officially go through, but. I don't know, man. It's a bit of a fishy situation for me.
What was so when Max got traded? What were they getting?
I think it was 2 first-rounders, I believe.
2 first-rounders? Wow.
This year and I think next year. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they probably figured, well, that was dumb. We can get Hendrickson for what, $100 million or $91 million, and no draft picks. So it seems to me like they, like Cole said, buyer's remorse, where they just decided, how can we get out of this once they got into it. They looked for a reason to fail him on his physical.
Trey Hendrickson is mid. I hate to say it, but he's mid.
I don't know. He's motivated.
Not worth it.
And we'll see. He's
I don't
motivated.
think he's worth that money, to be honest. I mean, that's just me. I don't know. It was like $111 million, whatever it was, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
At
Honestly,
the same time,
the Ravens, who cares? The only one who cares about the Ravens is Cooper Mason. Nobody else cares about the Ravens.
He'll appreciate that shout out.
Yeah, good.
My buddy's actually a Ravens fan, and he was so pissed.
Well, I bet. He lost Likely, goes to John Harbaugh. I don't know, man. Hey, so we talked a lot about offense. We really haven't touched on the defensive side of the ball. We mentioned their names. Cole mentioned their names. So tell me, what are you excited about on the defensive side? I mean, I think on the ends that tells you the guy from, what is it, Chisholm? What's the guy's name from New England? The defensive end from New England that was a stud last year, and his coach called him out more than once about how good and how instrumental he was for their team. We picked him up for relatively cheap, I believe. And then we also got the guy from San Diego. I don't want to mispronounce his last name. But he's a stud, up and coming, and they're both relatively young. I think this is a coup for us in terms of getting our end need, and we also re-signed Wise. So I think our end, and we have Terrence Armstrong. So I think our defensive end is set. So what do you guys think about those moves? And going forward, I guess that means we're not drafting a defensive lineman.
Yeah, that's not necessarily what that means. Grayson, I'll let you go.
It really does sound like that, though. I mean, we got 2 defensive ends. We still have John Baptiste, whatever, right? I mean, we still have all these guys. It really does look like we're not going to go after Ruben Bain or David Bailey. It's either going to be a Sonny Styles, if he's there, a Caleb Downs, or potentially a Jeremiah Love. That's the 3 players I think it's going to come down to, because, I mean, we're signing all these defensive players and maybe one offensive player if it's Brandon Ayuk. I mean, dude, we might actually draft Jeremiah Love. Like, seriously. We went after 0 offense other than a tight end, and I guess Brandon Ayuk if it happens.
Do you guys know anything about the guy from New England? You've ever heard? I mean, I just know that his coach called him out about how great he was and instrumental to them getting the Super Bowl and how hard he plays.
I mean, I've watched a little bit of tape on it. I'm obviously not a New England fan, so I haven't watched every single game when he played, but he looks quick, at least, and he looks strong. I mean, he looks twitchy. I mean, his moves seem good. I don't know too much about him.
Yeah, I just wonder because I don't think anybody mentioned his name as the top D end to pick up, right? It was what's the guy's name? Odowe, or I don't want to mispronounce his name.
Owe.
He was listed. Henderson was listed. I don't know how far down the charts were, in terms of people wishing to get this guy, but evidently, according to 106.7 up here, everybody's excited about the guy. So, welcome to DC.
Also brought back Tim Settle, right? He was a former Redskin, right? Yeah. So Tim Settle's back too, another defensive lineman. So I don't know. I don't think any reasoning to draft a defensive end. I mean, we've got 3 guys that we just wasted a lot of money on to structure our D-line. Do we really think we're going to draft a DN and not a linebacker or a safety?
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself. I'm kind of feeling the same way about that. I do think that D-end is still very much a possibility. If they think one of these guys could be a generational talent, I still see going to get him, because D-end is a very important position. If you think that guy's going to be as good as you think he's going to be, then you're still going to put out feelers and potentially draft him. I will say it is looking a lot like Commanders are going to go offense with their first-round pick, though, the more this free agency is kind of shaping up. A lot of rumors about...
Also, to add to that, too, the dude we just got from Indiana... Cross, I forget his first name, but I mean that's a safety we just got too. So go ahead, continue. But that's just like another thing.
Yeah, I mean that is also true. There are 2 safeties that play football on the same field at the same time, though. So just because we got one doesn't necessarily mean Caleb Downs is completely out of it. But yeah, no, it definitely looks like, because we're loading up so much on defense, they think they'll be able to supplement the offense through the draft, whether that's drafting a wide receiver with the first-round pick, maybe using the first-round pick on, say, Jeremiah Love, and then maybe using our, second or third rounder, whichever one we have, on a wide receiver or something else to help. Because apparently, from what I'm hearing, it's a pretty deep wide receiver class. Like, it's not like you're not going out and getting a Jamar Chase or something out of the draft where he's like, this guy 100% is going to be a bona fide superstar. But apparently, there's a lot of pretty good wide receivers out there, pretty serviceable wide receivers, not necessarily superstars or maybe even stars, but decent guys that can come in, be like a wide receiver 3 and get some decent production out of. So it's definitely something to look at. But yeah, I wouldn't completely rule out drafting defense. I think that's still a very real possibility, especially because Jeremiah Love's getting mocked now as high as the 3rd pick in the draft. There's still so much that can happen. There's still so many free agents that need to be signed. Teams need to shape out their roster. I saw Rashad White again posted something on Instagram today with Jaden Daniels and Ayuk and him together. It's like,
who's Rashad White? I'm forgetting.
Rashad White. He was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, 2nd-string running back behind Bucky Irving.
That got his job beat out by a rookie.
He's mid.
Jaden Daniels and Ayuk at Arizona State.
Yeah, he's mid. He's nothing special.
He can catch the ball, though.
Yeah, he can. Maybe he can fill in as an Austin Eckler type role. I'm not necessarily sure, but I almost don't even want to go that direction, because if Jeremiah Love is going to be there at 7 and fill the rest of the pieces we really need, I mean, it's getting tempting at this point. It's getting really, really tempting.
Yeah, I like Jeremiah Love, but I'm not going to be disappointed if they pass on him and draft Caleb Downs or Sonny Styles or somebody like that anymore. I would like to have him, but I agree. I don't think he's going to be there. So if we're not taking a defensive lineman, then I guess you're unless you take the wide receiver from Ohio State, which he didn't have a great combine, or did he have a good combine? I don't know, but Caleb Downs would be an interesting pick, but with this guy Nick Cross, evidently Nick Cross is a baller. I mean, he's supposedly really, really good, and I think they said last year he had 120 tackles as a safety. And I watched his hype reel, and I was like, man, the interesting thing, and I'll just say this: the interesting thing, you watch the highlight reels of all the players that the Commanders have picked up so far on defense, they all tackle well. And I think we all saw last year tackling was atrocious. And if you just look at the hype reels, pick a player, and watch how they tackle and wrap up, it's pretty impressive. So I think when they were picking out players, they're like, we want people that can actually tackle people and know how to tackle people. And with Durante Jones's defense, it's kind of exciting to see all the speed. The speed and beef. We have some beef, but we have some speed. I think we still need a corner and, maybe 2 corners. We need a wide receiver. But the defense is really taking shape. And I think we figure out how to wrap up people, and we have some corners that can cover people, and even more importantly, some ends that can put pressure on the quarterback so the corners aren't standing out there for 10 seconds exposed. It's kind of got me excited.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching the tape too about all the guys that we've gotten. Like Nick Cross looks really good, and also Owe looks really good. And I watched a lot of it too about their highlight tapes and just what the social media has been posting and watching back games. They might not be getting sacks all the time, but they are pressuring every single play and flushing out the quarterback, which I love seeing. I think that's something that we're missing because, we've watched the game and our DN has been pretty good, our defensive line has been pretty good overall, but I think we just need more pressure. That's it. I hope Nick Cross plays well too. And shout out Jeremy Reeves. I hope he has a good year next year too.
And we're forgetting about Leo Chenal. So evidently this guy is another baller. In Kansas City is seriously depressed that they're losing this guy. And again, another 4-3, 4-4 guy can cover, which, Bobby Wagner couldn't do, right? And he wraps up. He tackles. And he's young.
So there's another thing. Like, as a fan, I'm just throwing that out there. Okay, so we re-signed Bobby Wagner. Okay. We still have Jordan McGee. We have this guy that came in from Kansas City. Now, do we
Leo
draft
Chenal.
Do we draft Sonny Styles, or is it literally going to be Caleb Downs or offense?
If Sonny Styles is the next Ray Lewis, you take Sonny Styles. My opinion. Safety, yeah, I like Caleb Downs, but evidently he's been hurt. Or he's hurt. I don't know.
I'm still taking Sonny Styles every single day of the week if he's there at 7. He's still my best player there. I think he could be the biggest game changer in the secondary as well as generating pressure on a quarterback. He's extremely versatile. That being said, I'm starting to really fall on that Jeremiah Love hype train. I would not complain whatsoever if we ended up drafting him. Like, the more and more I think about Jeremiah Love, I was like, God, dude, that would be sweet. The dude is lightning quick, breakaway speed, can catch passes, super shifty. I like Bill too. Don't get me wrong. I do think Bill still got what it takes, but man, having a backfield of Bill and Love, oh man, that would be nice.
And we saw 2 years ago, and we saw firsthand when we went to the games, and we went on that run. Our defense was atrocious, right? But we still ended up going to the NFC Championship. Just imagine if we had a moderately decent defense. In a crazy offense, if that made any sense. I'm just saying, we obviously want a good defense, right? But at the same time, we could put more on offense and just score more points. Score more points to win the game.
Well, I think that's what we're going to hope to do. I think that keeping Jaden Daniels healthy, but it's going to come down to who else fits into that offense, right? Defense is great. I agree with you. The defense was terrible, but we didn't have a running back, and we went to the NFC Championship game. We didn't have Jeremiah Love, and we made it, with who was our running back? Eckler and
Brian Robinson.
Bill. Brian Robinson. Oh, that's true. That's right. So kind of thunder and lightning. But, he's intriguing, but do running backs – Is he Austin Genty-ish? Is he that good in your guys' eyes, or is Austin Genty? I don't know. I think running backs. People don't spend a ton of money on running backs. I was kind of shocked that L.A. went all in last year with their number 1 pick, and we'll see if he materializes and is this great running back. But I think the they're still out on whether or not this guy is going to be, all pro, Pro Bowl player.
Everything that I'm hearing is people think he's better than Genty, a better prospect than Genty. They think he could be one of the greatest running backs we ever could see in the NFL. They think his ceiling's that high. So
Well, then he's not making it to 7 if he's that good.
Well, see, no, but he could, because the positional value of running backs, like you were just talking about, is not very high. So that's the reason you haven't seen like a number 1 draft pick as a running back in probably 30 to 40 years. It just doesn't happen anymore, because running back's not valued the same way that quarterback or defensive end or linebacker or any of those other positions are. But if he is who they say he is, and who he could end up being, I say why not, man?
Do you think the Redskins, Commanders value running backs like that, though? I mean, 7th rounder last year on Bill. I mean, Eckler was a free agent. He's kind of towards the end of his career. 2 journeymen, backups this year that were pretty serviceable. Would you? I mean, I for a guy like, I guess, Christian McCaffrey, and if he's that good and they think of him like that, obviously with Adam Peters coming from San Francisco, he might, take the chance, because that's a once-in-a-generational player. But remember, he was at Carolina and they traded him. So I don't know. I would love to have him. And you know what? It'd be a great weapon for the offense. So I hear you, Cole. I'm kind of on that train too. But I wouldn't be upset if they went defense, because how many running backs stay with their first team for a second contract? I mean, not many. I mean, look at what just happened to the NFL, the MVP of the Super Bowl. They didn't even want him back. Sent him to Kansas City. It's just, I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I agree with you. I think he could be, if he's that good, he doesn't get hurt. He could be, you got somebody like Christian McCaffrey. I can only imagine what our offense would look like with him, in the fold. But then, I don't know. I agree. In other words, I agree with you, but I don't think he's going to be there if he's that good. I think people are going to gobble him up because he's supposedly the best prospect in the draft.
I just think it's about time we start thinking about getting a superstar running back. I mean, I don't think we've had a superstar running back in literally 10 years or more, ever since Alfred Morris. And when we did try to get good running backs like Adrian Peterson, whatever, that was a dud. He was a washed-up player. I mean, we had all these. We haven't had a superstar running back in literally 15 years, I think it's been, or something. I think it's time to change.
Clinton Portis was the last one I can think of.
And that was how long ago? 2000,
long time ago.
2010, maybe. But, I mean, what makes an offense great, you can throw the ball and you can run the ball. And we have had a little bit of success with running the ball with Bill last year. I'd be excited to see what Bill can do in the next coming year. But the ability to have that guy in your backfield is unstoppable. I mean, you have an explosive player behind the backfield and you can throw the ball. I mean, it's just like you're set up for success.
2 weeks ago, though, we were talking about weren't even talking about him. We kind of, Grayson mentioned it flippantly. So are you guys going to be disappointed if he's not there? Have we changed that much that we were all in on Reuben Baines, we're thinking, we need a defensive end, and maybe it's just, addition via subtraction. We've kind of changed our opinion and decided that a running back might make sense here. It's interesting. We're talking about all the players, and we keep coming back to offense. And what really sucked was the defense, right? So I think that's kind of where we're kind of all geared towards. Obviously, is we want a high-powered offense and see something exciting and have Jaden Daniels have players to work with. But will you guys be disappointed if he's not there now? Has it changed that much?
If he's not there at 7, yeah, I'd be kind of disappointed. And not necessarily like if he's there at 7 and we don't take him at 7, I'll be less disappointed, because that means I guess our front office liked somebody else more and they really wanted to bring that guy in. I would be more or less disappointed that we wouldn't even have the option for him at 7 if he goes earlier. Just because if the front office does really like him and he's available at 7, it's something for them to think about. But I think if he goes at 7, it pretty much narrows it, or before 7, it pretty much narrows it down to you either go on defensive end, because if he goes before 7, I imagine Sonny Styles is going to go before 7. So you're either going D end, safety, or Carnell Tate is pretty much your 3 options there.
Are you trading up for him? Is he that good?
No. No, you're not, you never
Is
trade
he
up for him.
that generational that you give this year's first round and next year's second round to get this guy to move up to pick him?
No, not to move up from where we are, especially if there's a good chance he might end up being there anyways. There's no point in sacrificing that next first round pick for that.
So we don't love him that much. Good.
I mean, I think in the position that we're in a really good position. I think literally.
God, if we just lost one more game.
True. But
We
at
just
the same
lost one
time,
more game.
in our position, it's all gonna matter who picks in front of us, of course. But in the state that we're in for our draft, I truly believe like we can't go wrong. Seriously,
We're going to
we
get a
can
good player.
Yeah, we can get Sonny Styles, we can get Caleb Downs, we could get Carnell Tate, we could get Jeremiah Love, we could get Ruben Bain, we could get David Bailey. Like those are all great players. Now, whoever comes up, it's all going to depend on who drafts it for us. But the way we're set up right now, we could either get an offensive player or we could get a defensive player. And if we don't get our defensive player, we can get an offensive player. Bang. Because now we've done all this free agency. We've got our defensive work. Now we can draft offense if we need to.
You left out special teams.
If we don't draft offense, we'll go defense.
Yeah. No, yeah, I understand.
Well,
I understand.
I just
No,
meant to
I-
say we put a lot of work
Yes,
in
I understand what
free
you were
agency
saying.
on defense.
Yes.
So now if we don't get our guy on defense,
I
then
agree.
can get our
We
guy
need
on
to
offense.
give Jaden Daniels some weapons. But the one thing that we haven't talked about yet is the fact that we let our top center go, and we haven't signed a center, or we re-signed. Who was the center we re-signed?
Nick Allegretti.
Nick Allegretti. Is he our starting center now? 'Cause
Probably.
evidently we lost out on the guy we went after the guy from Baltimore, and I guess we didn't want to come up to the number he was at, which was ridiculous for a center. So now what do? We kind of playing chicken, and we got rid of our guy, probably thinking we could land the Baltimore guy, and now we got nobody. Allegretti. He's our starting center?
Allegretti's not bad. He's pretty serviceable. He does a decent job. Apparently, he was actually on 106.7 The Fan as I was driving home from work today. I'm not sure if you heard that, but
Was he better than Badass?
Probably not initially, but he said all the way back in high school and in college, apparently Nick Allegretti was always a center. Is when he got to the league, they moved him to other positions, so he hasn't been a center really in the league. But he's he grew up doing that pretty much his entire life. He's excited for an opportunity to give center a shot. And he's
Oh, that's scary, Cole.
it's scary, but at the same time, he's not bad. Our offensive line was not bad last year, him included. We had a pretty decent unit overall, so I'm not too pressed about maybe the second stringer getting more reps and maybe have an opportunity to be a full-time starter. You're always going to have a couple positions that are going to be question marks at the start of the season. You either have a player that's going to step up and fill that role, or it's going to be something you address in next year's free agency. So it's just
Pretty important spot.
on the offensive line center, yeah, it's important, but it's not as important as the guards or the tackles, really. They're like the quarterback of the offensive line. They call people out and stuff like that. But when it comes to run plays and stuff, you get the runs to the A gas, but you're not really expecting massive gains from those. They're just yardage gains and stuff like that. I don't know. Center again is not a very high positionally valued spot. So I'm sure if it doesn't work out, you can either trade for somebody or get somebody in free agency or something like that next year. But it's worth maybe giving the dude a shot for the entire year because he wasn't bad last year by any means. He wasn't amazing, but he wasn't every time he was on the field, I was worried that our quarterback was going to get sacked.
Yeah, I think we got caught with our pants down on that one. I think we took a gamble and it didn't pay off because all I heard about why we got rid of Tyler Badass or whatever was because he wasn't big enough, and especially in the run, and he was a mean guy, but he just wasn't that great. So my thought was they felt like they needed to upgrade, and I don't think Allegretti is an upgrade if he's like you say, he's not your starting center. I think they kind of got fleeced on that deal. They probably, if they could redo it over again, I don't know if you get rid of Tyler, but it's what's done is done. So now they got to figure that out. And I think pretty much all the free agent centers are the good ones are taken. So maybe we have somebody else on the roster. I don't know. The other thing too is, has anybody heard anything about Chris Paul? Because if we lose him, we're losing a starting guard, and he had a hell of a year. So what are we going to do at that spot too? I don't know. But he really came into his own as a Redskin commander. Was a backup and worked his way up to being a starting guard, and he's a beast. I can remember seeing him multiple times. I can see multiple times where we got our running back Bill or whoever's running down the field, and who's right behind him? Our tackle, is running right behind him. So I don't know. We'll see. I guess they'll figure all that out, and I guess our offensive line was supposed to be, I thought, the one area, our strength. So you take the quarterback out of the mix. I was a little shocked at that one. I thought that's somewhere we didn't have to do anything, and I think by releasing him we saved a couple $1 million. I don't know.
I'll say I don't buy at all that the only reason we cut him was to get the guy from the Ravens, because that is a hell of a gamble to take. If you're just banking on this one guy that you're going to sign to end up being there, and then if it doesn't work out, then you're screwed. I don't imagine that was the case even slightly. I don't think that's true at all. That would be a completely reckless move from a front office to do. And I think Adam Peters, as much as I can criticize him at times for being slow on the gun and stuff like that, I don't think he's stupid enough to do something like that. I think there was a plan. Maybe there is somebody else in free agency that he's looking at to maybe back up Allegretti. Probably re-sign Chris Paul if we can. But yeah, it doesn't make sense to me that we cut our starting center on the hopes that we land one singular dude in free agency. And it's just it doesn't make sense, like, just from a risk standpoint. Like, if he wanted to go somewhere else, which he did because the Raiders gave him a stupid amount of cash to go play for them, then you're up a creek without a paddle. But like, I think there's still a plan. I think they're still going to probably go for somebody, maybe even draft somebody with their second or third rounder or something like that. That can fill a hole and be a depth piece. But again, I'm not too terribly concerned about our offensive line.
Yeah, well, that's, I guess, out of all of our concerns, that's probably the least concerning. I agree we need to focus on getting some wide receivers and filling out our back end, especially with cornerback. I mean, I know we did we did pick up a corner from Detroit. And Grayson, what was his name? Do you guys remember what his name was? I'm sorry, I don't have his name. Amik Robinson. And evidently, I think, Cole, you touched on it, that his PFF scores were terrible. I'm not sure if that's who you were talking about.
Yeah, he was ranked 110th out of 114 cornerbacks last year, if I'm not mistaken.
So why did we pick him up?
I don't know if he battled an injury or something like that, but it was out of all qualifying corners. I don't know if that was the PFF or whatever you were looking at, Cole, but it was not good.
So why did we pick this guy up? I heard somewhere that Durante Jones loved him because they had to play against him twice a year.
Well, you never know. He might have been at a position like outside corner, inside corner. I really don't know how that works out. But, I mean, we could look at Mikey Sanders still and what he's done when he was an outside corner, and then we moved into inside, and his numbers severely dropped. So I trust in Durante Jones. I mean, we all know what he did with the Vikings with their defense and their backfield. Defensive backs, my mistake. And maybe it just fits his scheme. So, I mean, I'm putting full trust into our new coach, and hopefully it works out.
I saw something as well that apparently he's a big turnover guy. Like, maybe his coverage grades aren't phenomenal, but he generates turnovers. I think he only had like 2 picks last year, but he forced 5 fumbles. So he's great at the peanut punch. He's great at getting the ball away from ball carriers and stuff like that. could be a threat. Even maybe he'll blow a coverage here and then. I'm sure we'll see him blow the occasional coverage next season. But if he can even generate just a couple turnovers for us, because I feel like our defense barely got any turnovers at all last season. Like it was a rare day when we got a turnover.
I think we went a lot of time without getting one. I know that.
Yeah, I think it was like the first 7 weeks of the season or something like that. We didn't have one single turnover on defense. Like, yeah, maybe our coverage lacks a little bit there with him, but if he can generate even like 4 turnovers for us throughout the course of the year, I think that's a big step up from what we had. Because Marshawn Lattimore would just get torched on every single route and generate 0 turnovers, except he had that one pick, I think, against, I don't remember who it was, but he had like one pick at like towards the tail end of the season. That was pretty cool. It was like, oh, maybe he's got it. Then he went back like 2 weeks later and just still sucked ass. So if he can generate even a decent amount of turnovers for us and at least help out the defense, because again, I think that Detroit beat writer that I was listening to the other day also said that like there's a lot of guys in the Detroit defense that were kind of taken after him when it came to trying to punch out the football and strip the football from ball carriers, and it was almost contagious to the point where like everybody was getting strip tackles and all that kind of stuff on the Lions defense, because they had a great turnover differential as a team last year. The Lions did. So maybe, if not, like maybe we won't see like the best production out of him, but he could be maybe one of those guys that teaches some of the other guys a couple things, helps them out, generates some more turnovers for us. It's something I'm going to look at with the rose-tinted glasses right now. It seems like it could be a very exciting move if it pans out the way Daronte Jones and Adam Peters want it to. So,
if you guys could pick, what is your best move that's been made, not necessarily even with Redskins Commanders, but best move, free agent move by a team this offseason so far? Do you have one that you can think of?
Yeah, I got one. Pretty easy, actually. The Ravens somehow just managed to save 2 first-round picks and get another elite defensive end in Trey Hendrickson. That is my best move of free agency. GMs hate it. Fans across the league hate it. In fact, I don't really like the fact they backed out of the trade, too. But they got a really good defensive end and saved 2 draft picks by backing out of that trade deal. So if you want to talk about pure value, it's like you got a pretty good dude who was really highly touted last offseason and stuff when he had like, what was it, 17 and a half sacks or something that year or something like that. They gave him a bunch of multipliers and stuff like that. Like he can be he's going to be a pressure guy even if he's not what he was a couple years back. He's still probably going to generate double-digit sacks. He's still going to get to the quarterback. Plus he's not coming off an ACL tear. So if you're asking me what the best move is, it's getting those 2 first-round picks back from Max Crosby and then just spending the money on Trey Hendrickson. I think that puts the Ravens at a much better spot overall.
I think it's going to be another year of hating the Chiefs. Kenneth Walker going to the Chiefs, I think his career... I mean, we all know what Seattle did already, but... the Chiefs always win, and they always know how to utilize their running back, so I am severely scared.
They didn't win last year. They lost.
I know, but they're always in it. They have Patrick Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks ever, and they now have the best running back that they have seen in a long time. They had Pacheco. I mean, he really wasn't as good or anywhere near Kenneth Walker. They had Kareem Hunt, who's like almost 40 years old out there, scoring 8 touchdowns this past year. I mean, like, what? So now they have their O-line, Patrick Mahomes. They have Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and now they have Kenneth Walker. Unfortunately, they're going to be really good if their defense holds up.
Okay.
So I'm going with that free agency move.
I like our defensive end, Owe. I think that was one of the better moves, and I also like, it's 2, but Jalen Phillips to Carolina, because I think they're close to being a really good team. And I think if Bryce Young can have a decent season and he can stay healthy,
so
I think
much
that
money,
might put him
though.
over. Well, I'm not talking money. I'm just talking about player added to a team that might make the biggest impact. I think the Raiders went crazy, with money, but I'm not in love with their picks. I actually like ours better, even though we spent less money. I like what we've added compared to the Raiders. But I just think if you're picking player, I would have loved to get Jalen Phillips here too. Not for that money, but I would have loved to get him here. I think he's kind of this guy that's on the cusp of being a Hendrickson. He's right there. I mean, and he could make a serious impact on Carolina, I think.
I don't think Jalen Phillips has played more than 9 games in a season his entire career. I think every year he's been in the league, he's gotten hurt and hasn't been able to play. I know he's had hamstring injuries. He had an ACL
Not
tear.
last year. Not last year.
Did he play all games last year?
I think it was an Achilles and a knee.
Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else then. But the rumor
He
around
played
him
for
is that he's
Miami.
not very healthy. He had
Traded
one
to
good
Eagles.
year last year. He wasn't very special before then, and now he's getting this massive contract. I think the Panthers paid him way too much money. Way too much money for what you're expecting to get out of that guy. Now, yeah, maybe he can develop into something more. But I don't know, man. The Eagles' defense is always fantastic. They're super well coached. I can't really speak to Carolina's defense. I don't know too much about them. But I imagine you're going from having an elite defensive coordinator over there in Philly to whoever Carolina has, and it could actually be a step down maybe. And for that sheer amount of money they're paying him, assuming he stays healthy, maybe it'll be worth it. But if he's not healthy, then man, that's a lot of money to shell at a dude that has a pretty lengthy injury history.
Well, what's interesting is we have a lot of moves still yet to come. So we're just at the beginning stages. I keep looking at my phone to see if they've signed Ayuk yet. And I haven't seen where they've released him. I think you said, Grayson, they released him today. So I would have expected them to have worked out something already. So maybe that's not happening. I don't know. But we got a long way to go. We're actually waited to do this on Wednesday, so we'd have more to talk about in terms of free agency. And obviously next week we'll even have more. Hopefully there'll be more signings. But I want to pivot just briefly. We're getting close to our 1 hour mark, but I wanted to ask you guys about USA losing in the World Baseball Classic to Mexico. What?
Italy.
Italy.
Lost
I'm
to
sorry.
Italy.
Italy. Losing to Italy. My apologies to Mexico. But yes, losing to Italy. How do you guys feel about that? I mean, is Italy stacked with MLB players? Or are they just guys that have the last name, Italian last name, like a soprano,
They got Jack Caglione.
Yeah, Caglione. Yeah, they're all just guys that weren't good enough to make the USA team that have Italian last names.
No, it's funny. I saw something on Twitter, and I don't think this is true, but it was just something funny that I saw. It was like, Team USA really just lost to the great state of New Jersey. It's like what are we doing? Yeah, no, I mean, the way USA has played throughout the tournament, I kind of have been expecting something like this to happen. It's almost like every other team's been taking it serious, and the USA's like just treating it like it's a jerk-off tournament where nobody cares. When that could be further than the truth. It's a big deal. Like, we watched Chinese Taipei start off elimination not too long ago. Their players are crying on the field. We watched an electrician from the Czech Republic get a standing ovation after throwing 4 shutout innings against Japan. Like, the dude didn't throw a fastball faster than 85 miles an hour. Like, it's one of those tournaments that is just so special, and I just don't think Team USA is really taking it that seriously. And it kind of bothers me. Like, for me, I don't want to see Bryce Harper on Team USA ever again. Plain and simple. And I would not have said that before the tournament started, but then he said the whole thing was like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's like pretty much glorified spring training. Paraphrasing, obviously. That's not exactly what he said, but that pisses me off, dude, because it's more than that.
They said what was the guy? Judge. Aaron Judge is a captain, and I don't know who filmed his hype speech. His hype speech was terrible. It was so monotone. It does feel like they're just walking through it like they've got it locked up, and they don't. And other teams are really caring about it, so they lost their game, so the excuses will start. Was this Bryce Harper comment after they lost? I'm just curious.
No, this was at like the start of the tournament.
Okay.
Yeah, so the whole thing, I think, in order for them,
I hope they lose.
And well, they don't have any more games. They're at the mercy of the game tonight with Mexico and Italy. I think they get in if Italy wins, like outright, and they'll get in if Mexico wins, but if Mexico scores more than 6 runs, I believe is how it goes. So if Mexico wins, but it's like a 5-3 ball game or something like that, Mexico moves on instead. But if Mexico wins and it's, say, 6-3 or 6-0 or something like that, then USA gets in. It's
so who's
like
already in the finals? Japan? Who's in the final?
Japan's in, I believe. I actually don't know who the other team is on that side that made it through. Maybe they might have a game tonight to decide. I'm not sure, but I know Japan's gone through, of course, shocker, and then Italy is actually guaranteed a spot no matter what. So those are the two teams I know for sure moving on. But yeah, it's getting hairy.
I don't know really how the whole tournament works out, but if we do make it in, which I mean we have like an 80% chance of us actually making it in, but if we do make it in, we need to play the Dominican Republic. Oh my God, that would be such a great game. I mean, have you guys seen their games and how hyped they get? And it's just like awesome watching. It is awesome watching it.
They would mop the floor with us if we played them, dude. They're having so much fun out there, having just a blast, a great time. And our dudes
like the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, kind of, dude. Some of their bombs are like taking 40 seconds to run around the base pads, like pumping their chest the whole time.
Do they even have a chance though? Aren't they out?
Dominican?
No,
they're good. They're
so
good.
The USA, how many more rounds are there? And I did want to ask you one other thing before you answer that question. What happened in the USA game that they're all up on the manager about? Did he make a bad decision or something that cost him the game?
No, he made some stupid-ass comment before the game, and he assumed we already clinched the next round berth. So he's like, yeah, we want to win this game, but like he pretty much like was saying like it doesn't really matter because we already made it, even though that was not the case at all. Like we had to win in order for us to move on. He didn't know, and that's a really bad look, and that's why people are getting on his case right now. I don't like that look either.
Going back to the Dominican Republic, I mean, I saw a video that was posted on Instagram, and it was a hit by pitch. So this guy gets hit by a pitch, right? I forget who the player was. Gets hit by the pitch, and he's like, oh, thrive, like he's hurting, his elbow hurts, and then he just like goes straight back to normal and starts hyping up the crowd like nothing ever happened, and everybody stands up and just starts going crazy. It makes American baseball look like cricket's like a damn library compared to what's going on right now with the whole DR and what they're doing in Miami. I mean, it's awesome. I would love to watch them play against the USA.
That's funny. Well, USA, it sounds like they're at the behest of Italy and Mexico to see if they make it through, which is kind of shocking. But all right, guys, well, we're a little past our hour. I know Grayson has to get back to his suntan, hitting the beach and doing some drinking and having fun with the boys. Let's pick it up tomorrow. They're 2-2 down there, playing Texas A&M tomorrow. Time to get serious. But anyway, we're so glad you jumped in and joined us and take away from vacation and talk about the thing that we all love, which is the Redskins and Commanders. And it's really looking like it's going to be much better outcome than we originally thought on Monday. I know me and Cole were like, oh, God, here we go. And it sounds like Adam Peters is cooking, and we'll see what happens later this week if anything else changes. But he's usually good for one sneak attack move every year. So I'm kind of curious to see if he's got something in the works that none of us are expecting yet. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So, guys, thanks for joining us, everybody. We really appreciate you guys watching, as always. And please continue to send us comments. We're obviously on Spotify. I also have us on Facebook and YouTube, but most people are going to Spotify, search Tip of the Spear. You can listen to us or watch us both. And again, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Peace.